I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
He's Jamie Anderson, although it says he's Brent Leary.
I thought it was a burglar who tripped the silent alarm.
I dream of being Brent Leary. So
anyway, we are the CRM Playaz, and this is not our typical Thursday show.
What? Where are you? Aren't you home?
I'm in enemy territory, actually. I feel a little like a wanted man because right across from where we are in Seattle is the Seahawks Stadium, which I started breaking out in hives when I saw it. But I'm here and I'm representing. I don't care where I'm at. I'm always representing. And I'm actually here because of UserTesting's crafted event.
Well, I'm going to be curious, and I guess we will ask our guest about why it's called crafted, but we'll get there later.
Yeah, before we get to that, he is Jamie Anderson. You're President and Chief Revenue Officer, right?
Yes.
And also a man of many voices.
He's a world-class human being is what he is.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. I'll be back on next week because I'm enjoying this. Is great.
But no, we are here for Crafted. First of all, just had a session with the analysts. I thought it was really good. I like the informal give and take. And it was a small group setting. I thought that was really helpful from an analyst perspective. So I think we got off to a good start.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about, because we already know who you are and people already know who you are. We're going to get into First Nations at some point. But talk about why you guys are doing Crafted, because it's here and then later on this year it's going to be in London. Talk about this event a little bit.
Yeah, so at this event, we're bringing together the builders and creators of the world that actually already, many of them already know us, right? This is a big kind of user show, big user community. And this event is called Crafted because ultimately what our builders and creators do is they craft amazing experiences and products for their customers. So we've taken the event to Seattle this year, and we've been doing lots of kind of activations around creating things like outside. Paul, I wish you were here. Outside, you can create your own scent based on your preferences and your profile, right? So literally, it will create, like a very personalized scent for you.
That could be good or bad. That could be kind of risky too.
Well, I was going to say I haven't done it yet. I'm scared. But it will ask you things like, what's your earliest memory? What is your earliest memory? And you'll put in, things like, being at the beach, this type of thing. And so, it's a really, really cool thing. But we did that.
It's a cool thing as long as your scent is not named needs a shower.
That's right.
By the way, John Hill says everyone knows who Jamie is.
That is true.
Who's that?
John Hill.
John Hill. I think I know this person.
Yeah.
So no, it's been great. And look, our customers, you heard from McDonald's today.
He kind of like fooled everybody because he started talking about how long it took to build a deck, and people actually thought he was talking about a slide deck.
Slide deck. Yeah, no, he was actually talking about a physical deck, right? That you may put, a set of tables and chairs on in your garden and enjoy the sun. I don't know what one is because we don't have the sun in Scotland, so it doesn't exist. But in all seriousness, it's a terrific event. We had a bunch of workshops. So the way we've done this, right? We want it almost to not be like the classic big company chest beating. We're going to, do 4 hours and 5 hours of like keynotes. We're going to tell you all these amazing things we're going to do. We're going to have big stats up on the screen behind us. We didn't do that. The morning was all about bringing in these designers, these researchers, user experience researchers, marketers, and we brought in people, from, their industry and the community to do sessions around designing in the age of AI, right? What is the role of research going forward, right? Because, naturally this is a time where everybody is a little on edge. Every company is investing in AI, and you know, it's a really interesting time. So supporting the community, helping our people understand how they can use AI to accelerate what they do and work. So it's a companion as opposed to something that's an existential threat.
Right.
I think it's really good. We spent the whole morning doing that. We did our analyst session, which is you know, Brent will tell you, Paul, obviously we missed you, right? But as Brent will tell you, we just sat round tables and we just spoke. And there was no big presentations because they're going to happen in the afternoon. This is just, we're going to talk to people human to human, because at the core of what we do is we help businesses like your McDonald's, your Googles, your Amazons, your Walmarts of the world connect with their customers to really understand how they feel, to really get a sense of, if you're designing a customer experience or a new app to improve the experience the customer has, that experience invokes an emotion. That's why it's an experience. And being able to see that, to measure it, to quantify the value of it, and put that into your design and what you do is so important.
You know, to that point, I mean, I remember when, you know, we last were looking at the actual stuff you were doing. You had, what was it, a panel of 1 million people who were basically responding to whatever the customer was giving them with actual human, you know, feedback, and at a speed level like I've never seen in my life, even, and yet without losing any depth to it at all. AI shows up. Has that changed how you operate internally, or what you provide as a, and this probably was gone over in the analyst session, but what you provide as a, I'll call it a product. What's changed, or if not, because you guys have always been double down on human, right? So,
well, I think, do you know what? It's the single biggest opportunity. I'm so excited by it, Paul. You know, what it's enabled, I mean, what it's really enabled us to do, if you think about it, is if the world right now, and this is why I think it's so important, we can build anything right now. We can build anything that we want. And you've seen it. I know people that are almost entirely no code right now. So we can build anything. And in a world when you can build anything, I think knowing what to build is everything. That's the key. And I think ultimately, as I said, at the end of every transaction, every interaction, every engagement, experience, whatever you want to call it, there is a human being.
yes, sir.
And so understanding what those human beings need is so important. The biggest opportunity for us, and this is what we're doing right now, Paul, we actually started it with Figma in our last release, but we live in a world now where for years, like, look, you know, because you guys understand user testing and what we do, that real human feedback we're able to provide is so valuable, right? But it was locked inside a user experience itself, which was designed for, you know, a researcher, maybe a product manager, right? In the age of AI, with our MCP server architecture and the API enablement into the core capabilities of the product, I am now embedding that feedback loop into Claude, into OpenAI, into the tools where the builders and creators of the world live. You don't need to leave those tools now to get access to real human feedback at scale. And that real human feedback, Paul, is 7 million active people.
Oh my
curated,
God.
7 million people curated, managed, right, and super engaged in the process of what they do. And this is every demographic. This is a global panel, right? I would call it, rather than a panel, because that tends to suggest panelists, it's a network of participants, right? It's not just general population. This is like people that work in healthcare, high net worth individuals. This is everybody that you, as a brand, could ever want to touch. So when you're designing something new, when you're innovating and you have that validation checkpoint, you can actually tap into this network and get feedback from that group any time of day or night, depending on where you want to ask the question, it literally within a couple of hours. So if it's a fast validation, fantastic. If it's deep research, you want to spend a little longer on and you want to see how, a human's preferences may change over a period of time, you want to measure that, it's there, you can get it. I'm not worried about like AI, and you guys probably do this, I do it myself. I will research things and I will use Claude, I'll use Perplexity, I'll use, one of these tools to do the research I want to do. But that is not the kind of deep customer feedback, right? You're getting research and you're getting an AI generated response based on data that's already historical, which is useful in some context, but for customer experience, to build things for humans, you need humans in the loop. You need that feedback. And we've got the largest active network of participants that can provide that. So it's super exciting.
Well, one of the ways I'm looking at, to your point, human and say Claude, I use Claude a lot for helping me build a smart home. Really, it helps me with markup language and code and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't use Claude for impact. I use, to your point, I don't use it for. I use it for more than just research. It actually helps build some of the automations and things like that. But I don't use it for impact. I only use people when it comes to wanting to get impact only. And I think kind of that's the way you guys have looked at it too. Is I know when I last was speaking with people there, it was and the fascinating thing to me about you guys is you get the impact so quickly. It's just like so I guess final question then is, how do you actually manage to turn it around that quickly? I mean, really, how do you do it? I don't know if there's any trade secret in there, but how do you do that?
Well, I think there's a number of ways we do it. First of all, the panel is widely independently regarded as the most fraud-free panel in the market. So this is not like little bots. This is actually verified human individuals, right? We verify that they are who they say they are and they do what they say they do. I think that part of it is the technology that manages and curates that panel, that network of participants over time. They're super engaged. They're always engaged. So it's almost like you have this living organism of 7 million, always on. Obviously, the whole 7 million are not going to be all on at the same time, but it's living and breathing. So if you need feedback at any particular point in time, there is somebody available to give it. And that's one of the greatest strengths. I mean, look, we've got, we can do any kind of research, study, gather any customer insight that you could want, because the tooling actually in the core product is fantastic, but it's only as good as that network of participants. And look, we have, we're living in a world where, we share that network as well with other providers. So, it's very, very, it's very active, and it's that activity that keeps it alive, Paul. If this was, sporadic, and the audience members weren't really engaged, they'd switch off, but they don't, because there's always a question to be asked. There's always an opinion to be given. So it's, I think that's a big part of it.
I know it's been mentioned, and it was brought up here today about the commoditization of insights and maybe expertise. But there's no commoditization when it comes to experiences. And I think that's one of those things that having those kind of panels really gives you a huge benefit, because that human element of experience can't really replace that, at least not yet.
No, I think, look, we need to talk again, right? We don't have time to go down all these alleys. Obviously, you hear about, that synthetic audiences and things like that. And there is value in that. certainly maybe more deterministic outcomes that you're trying to achieve. But when it comes to emotion, that is a living thing. And the thing about humans at the end of this, and humans in the loop, is that our opinions change. So the historical perspective of a synthetic, when you're looking for a preference or you're looking for someone to react, then I think that is an entirely different context. So that human experience is immeasurable, and it's you can't do without it.
All right, we're gonna have to let you go because you're a busy dude here, and we got another busy dude coming up behind you. But we haven't talked to you in about a year and a half.
Yeah.
A lot has happened in that year and a half. Where are you on AI and voice? Because you are one of the best impersonators there is. But now you got all this AI stuff, and it's kind of doing. I mean, where do you fall on this? Do you think it's gone too far, or?
I think that my voice and my impressions don't drain as many lakes, right? It's probably how I would put it. So I'm probably if you're looking for a voice, if you're looking for a sustainable voice artist, come to me.
We are, so we will be coming to you.
And what a note to segue on. Very cool.
That was pretty awesome.
Before you let go, any new impersonations you want to show off?
Do you know, I may get in trouble for impersonate, so I'm not. I'll do it from the safety of the UK. Okay. Right? Okay. I don't want to get myself in any trouble. Okay.
Johann's looking at you like, I'm not sure about this.
He knows where I'm going. He knows where I'm going. Okay, guys. Fantastic to see you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, sir. Another giant hug right back to you.
And what I'm going to do is ask you to take your mic and pass it to the man with the best beard in the industry, or one of the best beards. We got to give you the tie for first. And then you could, I'll see you a little later, of course. All right, man. Thank you. And coming in right now is
coming in hot.
UserTesting CMO Johann Wrede.
There he is.
So
How
this
you
is the
doing,
one that's
handsome?
picking you
Okay.
up. But thanks for making time. And as I said, we had what's the guy's name from who's now at Creatio? John. What's his last name? Bruno. John Bruno came to our IRL event earlier this year. He's tied with you with the best beard in the industry.
Yeah. So
we want to make sure we give you.
Oh, well, thanks.
It's guaranteed he'll be at next year's because he always comes. So this is IRL 2027, probably the first week in March. Be prepared for a beard off. You should be
okay. I'm in.
Beard off.
I'm in. You know what? We should do like a live. Bring your clippers, let it grow out a little bit, and do a little.
Whoa!
Do a little bit of a live trim.
So the one who loses has to.
Oh boy! You know what? I don't think people would be ready for me without a beard. There's a reason I have this. It hides the rest of everything. It's not great.
You know, I remember doing when you were at SAP. This is a long time ago.
Oh boy! Yeah.
We actually.
I think I still had hair then.
I might have too. But I remember doing like a little show and dance kind of thing with you at one of those Sapphire events. We're going back at least.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
A long time ago, but now you're the CMO here. And you know, one of the things I've been asking, and I'll turn things over to Paul. I've had a chance to talk to a couple of CMOs lately, of course, about what they're doing currently. But one of the questions I've been asking is, as a CMO, how has your job and how you look at marketing changed over the last several years? Let's say not even going back to general, just going back like 2 years to agentic, and how it's changed from that point.
I think, I mean, honestly, the biggest change has been in the last 6 months. And I think, you know, it's hard to even say this out loud, but I think that right now is a crisis moment for marketing. It is an existential threat for us to change the way we think about how we market and what marketing is, because I always said modern marketing is content marketing. But the problem is now with generative tools getting so good, content, there's so much content in the universe. My LinkedIn feed is full of it, and a lot of it is not very good, but it's there. And so what I have really spent my time on is going back to the basics of marketing and re-looking at the tool stack, looking at how do we change the way we work and what we prioritize in a new way to build a marketing process, to build a marketing organization, to build a marketing philosophy around these incredibly disruptive tools. And that's where my job as a CMO has really shifted, because the old expression of you got to rebuild the plane while you're flying it. My job is to figure out how do we rebuild the plane with these new tools while my team is still flying it in a perhaps a more traditional way. And we've adopted a lot of AI in our organization, whether it's automation or people brainstorming with the LLMs to create content. But it's really, everybody is sort of taking their traditional way of working and the traditional way of marketing and just applying these tools to it. My job as a CMO is to get ahead of that now and to rethink fundamentally, how do we change marketing and what marketing is around the way these tools work?
So let me ask you a question. So one of the things I know, at least from my standpoint, so for example, I'm starting to write a new book, and I'm using, for example, Claude to help me with, or Notebook LM and Claude to help me with the research. And I noticed, for example, Notebook LM has this tendency to write things for me. And I definitely don't want that, because to me, there's still value in actual voice. And also, like, for example, one of the reasons it makes, for example, CRM Playaz 17 years old, the ability to run it that long, is Brent and I chemistry, right? Chemistry can't be reproduced by AI at all. It just can't, right? So, and I doubt ever will be able to either. Even if there's chemistry, it's going to be one half human and one half AI, right? So there will be an actual person.
Unless you make Gemini and ChatGPT just talk to each other.
Well, I actually tried that, to tell you the truth. I would say, well, Gemini told me this, Claude, and I would cut and paste what I wrote in and see, what do you think? Well, it's got a point, or, well, maybe I should have gone this way. But, but again, nothing emotional about it. So how do you, and to your point, marketing is content, right? And content is either written or visually or whatever, by people generally, and AI is doing it. But do you find that if you see AI-driven content, you're only using it in very specific use cases, or you're using it generally, or you're not really using it, you're only using it to help set up someone else doing a human doing the actual content production, let's call it? How do you think about that yourself?
Look, I think in this day and age, why type? I mean, if I abstract it to like the workload, I want the AI to do the typing for me. I don't want to sit here and type out paragraph after paragraph. It types way faster than I do. What I don't want the AI doing is the thinking and all of the synthesis. I do want the AI to go out and pull a whole bunch of research for me. I do want the AI to summarize some of it for me, but always include links, always include references, so that I can go back, and to some extent, I think about it like I think about Wikipedia. I love Wikipedia. It's a great place where people have condensed a lot of knowledge, but it's not a source. You have to go read the source, but it's a great discovery mechanism. And so a lot of what I'm thinking about and coaching my marketers on is the worst way you can use these tools is just go to your prompt, go to ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, I need to create a piece of marketing content that says these things, hit go, walk away, come back, grab the thing, copy, paste, and publish. That's what gets us, my LinkedIn feed is full of stuff that clearly was built like that. What I'm working on and thinking about is, how do we use these great capabilities of agent teams, where we give marketers tools that have a highly highly segmented workflow where you have tightly, for lack of a better word, scripted agents that perform specific functions. So you'll have a research agent that will go out and you tell it what you're looking for and it pulls in the research and gives you a condensed version with citations and all the rest, right? You have an agent that will do summarization work for you. You'll have an agent that will act as a thought partner that you can bounce ideas off of. And if you build out the workflow in that model, now what you're doing is you're using the power of AI to help you arrive at your conclusions. It's not arriving at the conclusion for you, but it's doing some of the busy work, right? And then on the back end, once you have all of that synthesized, then you can say, okay, yeah, you're a PhD level writer, go write. You probably write better than I do in the mechanical typing, paragraph structuring kind of way. But the one most important part is not letting go of that synthesis, idea development, and Paul, to your point, the voice, right? Ultimately, I want my agents to understand my voice based on my writing sample, so it's close enough that I can then edit through and read it and go, that's not how I would say that. I'm gonna make those changes. But in general, I don't want to spend an afternoon just typing.
I never did. All right, so in our little analyst little gaggle there, which I actually like the way it was so casual and easy back and forth are going on. Really good stuff. Given what you just said about the marketing and kind of the moment we're in with marketing in general, you guys have this opportunity to focus on a couple of new personas, well, not new, but personas that weren't directly in your wheelhouse. You talked about the product, like developers, you talked about marketers like you. So in the midst of all this chaos that you described as a CMO, how do you approach going after these new, well, not necessarily new, but additional opportunities to drill deeply into folks who aren't just research directors, but product developers or product marketers, or marketers in the bigger sense of the category? How do you do that given all that's going on?
Well, it's everything is always a blessing and a curse, right? So the blessing of AI is that we can scale up our capabilities without having to scale up our workforce because of the economic pressures on every business, especially in our industry right now. The goal is to be able to expand the messaging capability, expand the asset production so that you are reaching those audiences. So that's the benefit of leveraging AI tools, is our ability to increase our production level while maintaining quality. I think that the challenge, of course, is you have finite advertising budgets, so you have to make decisions and smart bets about how do you show up for those audiences. For me right now, my focus on, and I think most CMOs and other marketers, I think might agree with me, that often in-person events are the best place to go initially, because you get that engagement, you can build brand perception in a way that people will scroll past you if they don't recognize you as being for them. And so UserTesting is not a brand marketers are familiar with. So if they see me in their feeds, they're just going to scroll past. But if I'm at a CX show, we were at a CX show recently where there were a lot of marketers present, or we were at Content Marketing World last year. Those sorts of activations generate a lot of interest, because at the end of the day, what we do, not necessarily who we are, but the what of what that we do, is incredibly relevant. And honestly, again, I have the luxury of using my own platform here.
Yeah,
it's more relevant, right? In a world of AI slop, having real human insight, real human input, real human validation before you push something into the marketplace, whether it's messaging, whether it's a big content piece, whether it's a product, whether it's a product roadmap, getting those validation moments from real people up front is more important than ever in a world when we can build everything at speed and at scale, right? And so that's where it's the blessing and the curse. The blessing is I can do it fast. The curse is oftentimes it's not very good if I do it fast. And we sort of break the triangle because you can have it good, fast, and cheap now.
So I don't know how our time is working, but
we're getting close to the end. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, one of the things that from my standpoint, I think you guys are even more important now than you were prior to AI taking off, because of exactly what you just said, and actually, I think the fact that you've expanded the size of the engagement network. I forget what Jamie had a name for it. I already forgot what it was. Participants to 7 million is astounding. And AI becomes a management tool really for you, I guess, to a large extent. And then on the other hand, it's also but the people, and I mentioned this to Jamie too, the people are the ones who have the impact, right? It's not AI. The only time AI has impact is when people let it have impact, right? Other than that, it doesn't try to have impact. In fact, years ago, the head of MetaMind, who became the chief scientist over at Salesforce for a while, now is the head of U.com, Richard Source, said, Richard, is that his name?
Richard Socha.
Yeah. What's his last name? Socha said, AI doesn't want anything, right? And he's right. AI doesn't want anything. People tell it what it wants, right? And so I think user tests, I would say this, I would want to, if I was personally, I would want to see a lot more of you out there, I think, right? I mean, I see you, but I would love to see more of you out there, because I think you're really an important company, and you're kind of you've got kind of a pivotal position potentially, with that. And I'm really super impressed. And so how about you though? I mean, like at home, let's say, I don't know what your hobbies are, but are you using AI for any of your hobbies?
Yeah, look, AI it seems like it's become a hobby. And, I think I probably have more hobbies than any human, and I have very little time to indulge in them. But, one of my hobbies is home automation.
We got to talk some more, man.
Yeah,
You just hit his sweet spot.
I'm like the Home Assistant all the way, but with Home Assistant MCP server, I have Claude working with Home Assistant now, and I'm doing all my configurations, building automations, doing all that stuff with Claude instead of just Node-RED. And so I'm spending a lot, I'm playing with that. I have a lot of side projects, helping friends with all kinds of vibe coded things.
Nice. It's like our lighting is starting to go.
Is this the cue, guys?
Wow.
Paul's going to have to invite you on the Rated PG or something to talk about this.
Yeah, listen, seriously, you and I need to talk about that. I use Home Assistant too. Claude and I have combined to write dashboards with about 5,000 lines of YAML code.
Oh, I love this. Yeah, we definitely. I want to come on and talk about that.
Yeah, no, I have a show we can do that.
You're going to get an invite.
I have a show we can actually do that. My guest yesterday was a smart home guy I know from sports, actually, named Todd Kaflish, right? So he used to be with the Vikings and several other teams. So you and I, I'll tell you what, after this is all over, let's set up some time next week or something to get on and talk about it. I'm totally in.
Let's let him finish the day.
Yeah.
One real quick thing. You talked about the kind of synthetic answers and stuff like that that have a purpose and serve a point. But I think, going back to what Paul says, that's nice alongside of all the things that you have with the human panelists and the pieces that they bring that don't necessarily come with the synthetic kind of stuff. So just talk about where's the sweet spot for synthetics versus the humans.
Yeah, look, I think it's a time trade-off, right? If you need directional guidance in a second, then a synthetic insight is wonderful, as long as it's not just trained by Reddit, but it's trained with actual reliable authoritative data. And I think in the world, when we talk about synthetic insights, you can get synthetic insights from ChatGPT or Claude or pick any tool. But consider the fact that the training window for that model was in the past, so the data isn't necessarily current. What its corpus of knowledge is, and even if you ask it to go and do web searches, you're not getting it instant in the current real-time insight. And there's you don't know really the source of that, so it's bots, click farms, fake reviews. You've got all of that stuff that becomes part of this, and if you're basing big decisions on that, now do you really want to do that? And so the first thing is synthetic insights help you with directional stuff. I wouldn't trust it for really specific things. And it really, really matters where those synthetic insights are trained and what the data was. And so I love, running things up against the synthetic and saying, what do you think of this directionally? But then going to real people and giving them the time to respond, and then taking your time to not only trust the AI. I mean, we have a great AI built in to do synthesis, but watch the videos, read the transcripts, look at what people are actually saying, watch their emotions, and then formulate your thoughts. And so the benefit is by using the directional stuff to get instant insights, it frees up more time to take the really important stuff and do it right with real people. And I think that's the boon of the synthetic piece of it, is otherwise you're waiting the same amount of time for everything, whether you just need directional guidance or you want really detailed feedback. And this allows you to redistribute your time so that you're putting your time where the real impact will be. And I think that is how I look broadly at AI, is it allows me to automate all of the mundane, busy work, the typing, going out and sourcing research, just bring it all to me and give me more time to actually think.
Wow. On that note, Paul, anything else before we let him go?
No, I'm just sorry I'm not there. I really am. It's weird. You have to realize, well, I'm retired from traveling. The only time I go to things anymore is when Brent and I are paid to do something, but I'm retired from all that stuff. But I have to tell you, this is the first one of the whole year that I regret not being at.
I'll tell you what, this location, I mean, first of all, Seattle, it's actually sunny and perfect weather here.
Sunny and
the location of the hotel they put us up in is very cool, a unique kind of experience. We're at this this venue right here that's literally right across from both the Mariners and where the Seahawks play. It's a very cool location.
Yeah. Well, I know. Look, seeing you, Johann, and Jamie and Susie. I mean, that would be amazing. But and also, I just really like what you do, and it stands out even more in AI-dominated universe that we now live in. And I'm old enough to be old school at a certain level, even though obviously I understand progress too. But at the same time, what you're doing is it's sort of the new way of doing old school, right? And it really is. But you know what? There's a reason why old school becomes use the word old school, because it's been around a long time because it works, right? Yeah. And in your case, what you do really works, and you just got the perspective is just right, and couldn't have better executives handling it either, right?
Well, thanks, Paul. That means a lot. I know you interact with a lot of people, and you have a really big network. So when you provide praise, it's not taking.
No, it's like, I'm not joking. It is literally the first time I've regretted not attending a conference this whole
Well, you're going to have to do this closer to you so you can nip over for a little bit.
Well, I'll just count on you and Jamie and Susie Susie was there, but you and Jamie to show up at IRL next year.
You got it. All right.
All right.
He's got to finish off Crafted before he can do that. So
that's okay.
I have some time.
Yeah. About to say, if you can finish Crafted by next March, you're good.
We're good. We're good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this and taking some time out.
My pleasure.
We always like when we get a chance to. I mean, we've known both you and Jamie, and of course Susie, for damn near 20 years at this point. So it's always really cool.
I know.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in. There's literally no point in. Your beard's white, right? It's not like time is hidden, you know.
I've been called an off-duty Santa Claus in the past. I'm desperately trying to lose weight to break that.
You have a much nicer beard than Santa does.
Yeah.
You really
All right.
do.
Thanks so much
Gentlemen,
for doing
this was really great.
We'll let you get back to. I know you've got some things you'll be talking later today.
We're gonna kick off the afternoon here shortly.
What do you want
I'm
people
looking
to leave
forward to
with?
hearing about it.
Yeah. What do you want people to leave once they leave here with? Just
I think it's with AI you can build anything. Knowing what to build is everything.
like that term.
Perfect.
Phrase. Yeah,
Man, you are just setting up perfect sound bites for Cliff.
That's good. I heard it earlier, but it was even more concise right now.
Yeah.
Right. That was the perfect way of putting it.
All right.
All right,
Thanks.
thank
man.
you, sir.
All right. Let me
Thanks
grab
for
it.
virtual hug, sir.
I always say he looks like he's from Wakanda when he does that.
That's right.
All right. Thanks. See you. All right. So it's just you and me to close things out. Huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, we were expecting a little no BS Thursday action with Bob Stutz, but unfortunately he is under the weather.
Yes.
So I guess maybe we'll make this a little short, but why don't I ask you this? Because one of our good buddies in the industry, quite honestly, I think surprised a lot of people. We're talking about Colin Fleming.
Yeah.
Yeah. When he announced just 2 days ago that he was leaving ServiceNow to become the CMO of OpenAI. And I think it was immediate shock in the industry. But I know you have some thoughts on it. I have some thoughts on it. But tell me, what did you think when you heard the news?
Well, I'm picking up the echo. I was hearing an echo. Okay, it's good now. From my standpoint, look, ServiceNow is a great opportunity, and Colin is a game-changing kind of CMO. He really is, and he gets the world as it is. And where it's going. He knows how to intersect it. He's a visionary. He knows how to execute on vision. I mean, it's perfect for ServiceNow. The opportunity he's got is a substantial one, and there's no question of that. He's publicly announced the company already, right? Yeah, I think because of your the other mic.
He's going to OpenAI.
Yeah, he publicly announced that part.
Yeah, he announced that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was different times, Okay, so look, is this a great opportunity for him? Of course it is. Is it smart for OpenAI? Well, they hired him, so clearly it's probably a smart move. My question is always the future of OpenAI itself, right? I mean, I don't know where that company is going to go. They've overcommitted, and well, let me rephrase that. I don't know that. What I would say is that it looks like they've overcommitted financially to a lot of companies, because the numbers that we keep here, that is cool.
I just moved the camera.
It's a good view. It's actually a really good view.
You think it is?
Well, I mean, that would be good, but unfortunately, you're too much in the other view.
Yeah.
So, I think the company itself is, look, it's a huge company. It grew very quickly. But it's had a lot of downs, and when it comes to ups and downs, and it's not a company. Look, if you're saying he went to Anthropic or something, I'd probably think, okay, that's a fantastic opportunity too, and I'd be more confident about it. I'm just not confident of OpenAI's long-term future, really. I mean, it's one of those companies that's going to continue to be kind of a spectacular success or poised to be a spectacular failure. But at this point, I don't know which way it's going, and I couldn't with confidence say that it's a company I trust long-term, right? So is it a great move by Colin for his career? Sure. Will ServiceNow miss him? Absolutely, because they really need a Colin as their CMO, that kind of person, if not him directly. So I'm very curious to see who takes his place as well. So what do you think?
Well, one of the things I immediately thought of, it kind of went back to the last conversation I had with him at Knowledge, when he talked about wanting to make a huge impact that goes beyond just a company, but also, even an industry, and that you can't have that kind of impact he wants to have unless you're swinging for the fences. So immediately I looked at, okay, this is him swinging for the fences.
Yeah, that's
because OpenAI is a company. I mean, ServiceNow is a great company, and it's been on a roll. Although it's kind of been the whole industry SaaS apocalypse thing is eating them up along with all these other companies. Yep. But it's a big company having a big impact. But there are only a handful of companies on the earth that have the potential to have the impact that OpenAI has. So that's why I was like, okay, he's swinging for the fences.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully it's a swing and a hit.
Well, and I think it is a huge, I would say, roll of the dice, because they are right now a little bit of turmoil going on, or maybe more than a little.
Yeah, about to say a little is the understatement.
So I think this is a huge risk, but a huge opportunity. And he seems like the kind of person who is not afraid of that. And I also thought about, well, them hiring him kind of in this fashion, because it did feel like it caught a lot of the industry off guard. I think that also says something about their readiness for going the IPO route. They're getting lined up to do that. And having him on board is one of those things that you need to do if you want to have a successful IPO.
And you know what? To your point, the other thing about Colin is he's a great CMO. I mean, he really is a great CMO. This guy really understands what it takes to be one, and he does the things that the greats do, which is not only have the presence, but to have the strategy and the ability to lead and the knowledge of execution, as well as the vision that he needs to do the job as a great CMO. And he's carrying that wherever he goes.
Yeah. And I truly believe and thought that when I heard the news, because remember, and originally it was like a two-parter. It's like his first post was just about leaving, and then the second part about where he was going. But in between, I was like, it must be some hell of an opportunity for him to make this move, to move against ServiceNow. So when he announced that it was OpenAI, I was not surprised it was at that level of move, because that's what it would have had to take to leave a company like ServiceNow. So.
Oh yeah, I know. I absolutely, I agree with you. I think my concern is not with him at all, or even the only concern I would have with him, his move, is that if OpenAPI fails, he gets hit with that. But it's more the company is where my concerns lay, not with him at all. Again, there's no place Colin can go where he's not going to be a great CMO. I literally believe that. And I'm not saying that just to be nice to him because I like him. It's because he really, every time he goes somewhere, you can see some transformative things happening, right? That are, and they're the right things. They're not just, like, I was once advising a company that hired this guy. I won't detail which company or who decided that he wanted to, as a CMO, that he wanted to win an award at the Cannes Film Festival. That was literally one of his goals, which was the stupidest goal I have ever heard for a guy being a CMO. And he made arguably the worst short video commercial I have ever seen in my life. It was borderline. It wasn't borderline. It was offensive. Well, let's say this. It wasn't politically correct offensive. Well, it was, but it was disgusting nonetheless, the way he did it. And and was made a mockery of the company. There is no way in any universe I can conceive of, and that includes every universe in the multiverse that Jeff Gomez has created, that Colin could ever do anything that dumb, and at the same time would only do what's right. I really think that highly of him. You know, he and one or two others are the best CMOs I've ever known.
Wow, that says quite a bit. Yesterday, also Salesforce came out with their earnings. I don't know how much you looked at it.
I glanced at it.
Yeah, they beat, but apparently, you know, nothing that gets said by these companies at the moment seems to satisfy like the financial analyst kind of people. So even though they beat on, I think both on revenue and earnings, it did move their stock getting it. So I don't know. It's just interesting how the enterprise SaaS market, all these companies are just as different as these companies are. They all are getting treated the same way.
Yeah, I think generally, I'm again not a financial expert by any means, but I think a lot of the people who would ordinarily be, buying their stock, so to speak, or selling it, whatever, are just kind of on hold. They're kind of watching what's going to happen because it's not, the irony is we know that, if you're deeply embedded as we are in that world, that what they produce is going to last. It's not going away just because of AI. It's not going away, right? And in fact, AI will be an integral part of it, but it's not going away. But I don't think that the people who we're talking about here, the ones who are, let's say, things aren't measurably changing, but I think they don't know that, right? They don't understand that either. I found, look, I'll say this, and then I'm really curious what you think. Several years ago, I had a reason to be in a room with about, 8 or 10 financial analysts. And I was listening to them. They were very snooty, really. And I was listening to them talk. I was an industry analyst, of course. I had no standing with them, right? So, and I'm listening to them talk, and I've never heard such ridiculous arrogance in my life. And I'm not painting them all that way. I mean, to me, one of the greats was Jason Maynard when he was a financial analyst back now, of course, CEO of Qualtrics. But these guys, and it was sort of I found out sort of typical. These guys basically thought they were moving the world themselves, but the only thing they cared about is revenue and bottom lines of one form or another, and bottom and top lines of one form bottom line, really, of one form or another. And that's it. They didn't care about culture. They didn't care about product. They didn't care about company performance and behavior in the world. They only cared about financial. And you can't divorce that from all those other things. Which, like if you said CX, they would say, well, there's no measurable metric, so therefore it's not worthwhile. But, customer doesn't like it, and they're not going to buy a goddamn thing from you. So, don't be morons. But, the thing is, I unfortunately came out with not a dislike of financial analysts, but I don't like the approach they take, particularly. And I think that's the approach that drives the Wall Streets more than what we do, let's just say.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe we'll end this a little early since I'm here in Seattle and I'm getting kind of hungry because there's a lot of people.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
Some good looking food here. But I was really, you would have enjoyed it being here because it's the environment that they set. And of course, it all boils down to one Susie Penner.
Yep.
He's the one that has always gotten the things right when it comes to dealing with folks like us, whether you're an analyst or an influencer or a thought leader or I don't know, whatever you call yourself.
You know what I call us, you and me? Susie's boys.
I think that's what she calls us.
That's exactly why I call us that too, because she calls us that.
And if I saw her, I would wave her over so she would say hello. But she likes being behind the scenes. But anyway, this has actually been a really good event, and it's not even over yet. But the analyst part was really good. it was small and intimate. Folks like Liz Miller, Rebecca Wetterman, Mike Fawcett, myself, and a few other folks I really didn't know. But it was
proud.
yeah, it was really well done and very casual. They had their brain trust there, and we were just interacting. I really appreciate it. So hats off to Susie for pulling this together. And I guess next week, I don't even know. I guess we haven't really lined everything up for next week, but there will be a next week. Oh, you know what? I'll be in Chicago. That's why I was kind of.
That's right. It's either no show or a watch party, one or the other.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing there'll definitely be a watch party for the Connections keynote. I am set to talk with a few of the execs, and one of them is Dina Apostolo, one of your favorite folks.
Oh, I love her so much. I do.
And I might talk to. Well, we'll see. I know there's some things in the works. Mike Wolf would be one that I would love to talk with. It's been a while, and he's now I think they're EVP and GM of revenue. So he's got a pretty big title there.
If you see him, do say hi for me.
I definitely will. So in the meantime, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and we'll give Minnie a break since this has been a different kind of show. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Rest up, Minnie, if that's not what you're doing in that picture.
Yeah, the return of Minnie will be coming.
2 weeks.
Yeah, not 2 and 2, just 2 weeks. Right. All right, we will see you then.